Do you ever get a deja vu while you're doom scrolling through MMA, YouTube, socials? Like Jon Jones did what again? Oh, another retirement video. Another, what does that mean for his legacy video? Another, oh God. Hey, McGregor teased another comeback. Yeah, sure. Dana White's mad at somebody. Yeah, if you're a fight fan, chances are you're stuck in the same algorithmic echo chamber. And it's eating the soul of MMA storytelling. It's eating my soul, to be honest. Like, even the drama we see everywhere feels scripted now. It's like an eternal rerun with slightly different thumbnails. Saudi Cup, and welcome to another episode here for the Family Pod, Mindful Media and Communication, and MMA, apparently, martial arts. So let's go all 5 rounds, because I'm ready, with the media machine that's behind MMA. And this is not a fight recap. This is not another Jon Jones video. Maybe I should to get more clicks. This right now is about why MMA media is failing. Not just as a stance, but itself. I'm going to try to break down a few things that go wrong in the next 10 minutes. I keep it short so that the MMA media actually can consume it. Yep. Why does content feel stale right now? How media theory can actually explain it? And, hey, crucially, what a way out might actually look like. So, if you're in the MMA media, you better watch until the end, listen until the end, because, hey, hopefully there will be some pointers in there. Why? Well, because I love this sport, just like you, probably more than some of the MMA media guys, to be honest. Yeah. And that's why I think that the media surrounding the sport really needs a reset right now. So let's start. Yeah, round 1. That content cage that you're in, that glass cage of content emotion, yeah, quantity versus quality. So let's talk about the sheer volume, okay? At major MMA channels, there are so many. Yeah, okay, sure, there's Ariel Helwani. Then Ariel Helwani, they do like 3 hours every day. Are you kidding me? Morning Combat, which is great, of course. Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell, Submission Radio, let's add the MMA guru, for God's sake. Then all like those other outlets, MMA Fighting, Mania, whatever. It's insane. ESPN itself, the UFC itself, Bella, PFL, One. I'm in Thailand. I should add One too. They're putting out content daily, not only multiple times a day, and it's always the same handful of names. Like I said in the intro, Jon Jones, Conor McGregor, not as much anymore, but still, Dana White, Islam Makhachev. You get the idea. If someone needs a last-minute hot take, it's always the same kind of BS. As a time of recording, I'm going to publish this in a few days, but at the time of recording, Jon Jones retired, right? And then new allegations just came out of whatever it is. Every single channel is doing the same thing. I actually unsubscribed from channels now because I see the same topic, the same talking points on every single channel. Guys, can you try to be unique? But there's a reason why it happens, right? Because it happens because the algorithm, of course, doesn't reward originality. It rewards repetition, outrage, and speed. So that's why Jon Jones retired. Oh my God, Jon Jones. Yeah, that's why everybody's jumping on the train. I need to get those clicks fast. You get penalized for nuance. So creators, of course, they flood the timeline with those stupid-ass surface-level reactions. And an MMA episode is the only time I can swear, I think. Yeah, and they hope that this one video where they mentioned Jon Jones, this one's gonna stick. Yeah, so MMA media right now is stuck in a volume trap. It's like, should I say it? Yes, I will say it. You guys, talking to the MMA media, you're like cardio kickboxers right now. You're the cardio kickboxers of content, okay? You're punching fast, but you're not doing any damage. Dare I say it. Yeah, instead of journalism or storytelling, it's become glorified SEO fodder, if you will. Even interviews feel like pre-scripted loops. Would you fight XYZ? What do you think of Dana's comment? Rinse and repeat. And the thing is, and I heard Dennis of Submission Radio, which I really like to follow for a long time, Submission Radio, for example, right? So great channel. I love that they / now him are doing things a little bit different, which is great. But I heard him say the numbers are dropping, and so that's why now he's putting out way more content. To see, there's this problem. There's a reason why the numbers dropping. More in this in a second. So let me break in some theory because hey, media professor at work, right? So not just professional hater, also professional media person. So, and I keep it to the more basic theory. So there's one theory that media people that are watching / listening to this, hey, I'm glad you're still here. No, it's called cultivation theory, okay? So cultivation theory explains how repeated exposure to similar messages shapes perception. If the only thing you see in MMA media is talk about Jon Jones, Conor right now at time of recording, Ilya Topuria, for example, your perception of the sport narrows to just those names. Yeah, the sport becomes, and we had this whole thing happening. The sport becomes synonymous with the loudest characters. Not the most skilled, not the most strategic, not the most thoughtful. We had this happening with Conor back then, and he dragged it out until he couldn't anymore now. Yeah. And now it's the same thing with Jon Jones. Like, don't you learn from the past? Even casual fans now associate MMA more with out-of-the-cage controversies, what McGregor did again, what Jon Jones did, than with the actual fights. Yeah, the media coverage, what you guys, MMA media, are doing, cultivates the worldview. Not because it's true, but because it's repeated over and over and over again. So if you complain about audience dropping, audience lack of knowledge, damn. Okay, round number 2. I already hit you a few times and you're still standing. A good job. Round 2. I call this one the algorithmic IQ. Yeah, platforms as puppet masters. Do I need to say more? Yep, YouTube, TikTok, X, if you're still on there. Why? They have redefined what media actually means. They're not just hosting content, they're dictating the shape of the content. What goes viral? What kind of content is being consumed? Yeah, so Fighter drops a 6-second promo, for example, about being ready for war. Yeah, within an hour, there are 20 videos analyzing this video. His mental state. Why did he say that? There are 3 podcasts speculating whether is he overtraining, a dozen thumbnails screaming, massive beef. Yeah. And you're like thinking, oh, you're making this up. Am I? This actually happened when I think Strickland said he was ready to die or something like this. People are like, is he crazy? What's in his mind? You analyze a 10-second clip or something like this. Oh my God, how is it possible that in a day and age where there are so many MMA channels, right? And I can't believe I'm saying this, the only channel that gives you insights, nuanced insight into like a fighter's mind is Nina's channel. How is that possible? Oh God. Okay, I hope you're still on your feet somehow, because I'm going to hit you with another theory. There's this guy called Jon Baudrillard. Look him up, okay? Old research. He talked about something he calls hyperreality. Yeah, so something that we don't know, is it real or not? Because you see it in the media, and in the media, things can be real, they can be not real, they can be enhanced, like reality TV, for example, right? So he said, because we see it through the screen, we're not sure if it's real or not real, in a nutshell. Same thing happens to MMA right now. Yeah, we're not just consuming the sport itself anymore, we're consuming the layer of reactions, of interpretations, of dramatizations. Yeah, Baudrillard would call this hyperreality. He called this like a simulation, the simulation of reality. So we are consuming the simulation of the sport. And this simulation of the sport, the hyperreality of the sport, is more pervasive than the sport itself. The fans, and I would say I'm a hardcore fan, aren't watching just the fights. They're watching people react to a clip of someone reacting to a stare down at the post-fight, pre-fight press conference. Yeah, we've zoomed out so far that the original event's barely visible. How annoying is that? Who's to blame? It's a you. Yeah, blame Dana, blame the UFC, sure. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and, you're still standing? Okay, well, 3 more rounds to go. Round 3. The echo chamber. You heard it all. You mentioned it all, right? It's another issue for me. MMA media talks more to itself than to its audience. Yeah, a pundit here speculates. Another pundit reacts to that. And a third pundit reacts to that reaction. It's media shadow boxing, like a flurry of takes, but no contact with reality. And yeah, shadow boxing is important, but it shouldn't be the only thing you're doing, right? The thing is, this whole thing is contagious. Even now, the newer creators, not mentioning names, but they follow the same formula. Yeah, the thumbnails are all identical, screaming faces, red circles, yellow arrows. You found yourself yet? Their titles all in caps. Yeah, you'd think every video was covering a war crime, but it's just about fighter X possibly not liking fighter Y. Oh my God. If you pause my video right now, that's basically a Bisping reaction. No offense. Don't hit me. As in every round, I'm adding one theory here too. Marshall McLuhan, one of the godfathers of modern-ish from the 60s media theories. He said the medium is the message. So the way you present a message, which medium you're choosing to communicate it, influences the way the audience understands the message. Okay, so the format in this case has overtaken the message. Yeah, the pressure to, and I get it, the pressure to monetize and maintain visibility has turned every pundit into a slave of the system. Yes, you are. It's not about what you say anymore. It's about saying something as fast as possible. Yeah, every headline, soundbite, tweet, X post is calibrated for, I call it, at uni we're calling it algorithmic survival. That's all you're going for. Yeah, because again, the system, and if you can hate on the system, but you're participating, the system rewards drama over depth, and speculation over substance. Even like, and I'm not just saying everyone is like terrible in this space, because even well-meaning analysts get caught in that cycle, forced to speak on topics they have little insight to, just to say, or just to stay in the conversation, right? Oh. So, if you're still standing and you didn't tap out yet, well done, congratulations, because now in the championship rounds, we're gonna try to work together a little bit to figure out, is there a way out? So what would it look like if MMA media would actually involve? Well, the way it all started. Slow, Johnson. How about that? Instead of 15 videos a week, how about one long-form story that goes deep? I know that you're not getting all the clicks from all the drama, but maybe you're different enough to actually, get audience really interested. Gym diaries, fighter family dynamics. We're doing it sometimes, yeah. Identity and cultural intersections, that's cool. Yeah, to make it easier to understand think Netflix Drive to Survive meets Last Chance You, but for MMA. And that's not my most favorite like shows, but I think for you to understand it might be able to work. Also, while of course the UFC is the most important promotion, decenter Dana a little bit. It's not the only game in town. And I don't mean you have to look into PFL, because who wants to see that? Nobody, besides PT Carroll. Spotlight One Championship. Chatri blocked me years ago on Twitter. Back then I was still Twitter, okay, because I asked them about like, hey, where do you get your funding from? And I got blocked. So I'm not a one nut hugger. I can say those words in an MMA video. Nice. However, the Muay Thai events they're putting on are amazing. Can't hate on that. Like, the money stuff behind it, who cares in this case right now, right? But a Spotlight One Champions Muay Thai, for example, or more of Cage Warriors grassroots culture, for example. Maybe regional scenes. I mean, there's more to it. Go to Africa, go South America. Tell me more about the fighting nerds. Where did they come from? Like, how did they make it work? All those things. There's more to MMA than what Dana White yells about. Okay? How about some fan-inclusive production? You see, I actually wrote down some points because I actually thought about it. And not in a gimmicky, like, read your comments. Or, hey, leave a what? Like some paid comment and we're going to read it, maybe. Yeah. And maybe do like have a curated community question, open source storyboards, real-time engagement. Yeah, MMA, as you can see, is one of the most passionate communities out there. Why not design media with them and not just via them? Okay. Okay, last thing, maybe it's just from a personal point of view, have some academic and creative collaboration. Yeah, bring in sports psychologists. That's a hard word for a German to say. So, sports psychologists. Psychologen in German. Very easier. Sports psychologists. I should have trained that before. Linguists, film editors, media theorists. There's space for interdisciplinary takes. What if an anthropologist explain the boy language in face-offs, for example? What if a screenwriter unpacks like narrative tropes in promo videos? There's so much potential. Almost the last theory. Round 4, we're talking about the basic theory of communication. Pardon me, losing my voice because I'm so passionate about this. Encoding, decoding theory by Stuart Hall. Stuart Hall reminds us media meaning isn't fixed, okay? So producers encode messages, but audiences can resist or reinterpret that message. Yeah, right now, most MMA content encodes the same tired message. Fight, drama, repeat. But fans are decoding something else. Fatigue. Boredom. A sense that the sport's most compelling stories are being buried under clickbait. And this disconnect right now is a chance to shift course. Are you willing to do it? Now, if you're still standing, we're heading into round number 5, last round. Congratulations. So, final thoughts? Tap or snap? What's your choice? I think the MMA media ecosystem is still salvageable, okay? But only if creators acknowledge that more isn't always bad. Now, relevance will not come from flooding the zone all the time. It comes from creating meaning. And as fans, we also need to demand better, not just consume whatever's pushed to the top of the feed. But I think, going back to Submission Radio's Dennis saying that in one of his videos, I think you can see that the numbers are dropping. So fans are getting tired of them. Fans, not actively, but passively pushing back by just watching, consuming less of the content you're putting out. And as creators, need to slow down, go deeper, and resist that algorithmic tide. It's hard, but once you resist it and you find your own better way, you'll be hopefully happier and then find the right niche, the right way to connect to an actual interested audience. Because right now, we're at a point where even the diehards are tapping out, and that's not a good sign. Well, let me know what you think about my rant on MMA media. That was much longer than I planned it to be honest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments at FunkyPod on social media, or if you really want to have a discussion, if you're an MMA content creator and you want to talk about like potential to improve, to do something different, happy to brainstorm with you. Hit me up, funkypod@gmail.com. Until then, stay safe, take care, keep your guard up, don't tap out too fast, but also not too late. Oh God. We'll talk next time. Until then, Sawadee Ka.